As a self-employed person, keeping track of my income and expenses is something that I diligently do. Otherwise, it's going to become a chore for me next year when I file my taxes. Doing so in my Money Diary series made me realize that I should really look for ways to gain some personal income tax relief for next year. And this is why I have made the maximum contribution that I can do to my supplementary retirement scheme account. I topped up $15,300, and in today's video, let me share with you what have I done with the amount of money. Otherwise, it's going to earn me a pathetic 0.05% per annum interest. Hopefully, it helps those of you who are looking to do the same. Let's dive straight into today's video. Let's go. More than sharing with you the technicalities, I pride myself on this channel to share with you my own journey transparently. So a little bit of a background for those of you who are new here. Prior to July 2023, I was actually working full-time at a corporate company. I was there for about 3.5 years, but I really wasn't making a lot every single month, let alone annually. I started at 2.7k a month, then it gradually increased. When I left the job, I was at 3.7k a month. So it really didn't make any sense, or I wasn't looking for ways to gain some personal income tax relief. But 1 year later, a lot of things have changed after turning self-employed. More than just doing content creation full-time, I'm also a financial consultant on the side ever since returning to Singapore early this year. I don't go out reaching out to people. It's only when you guys message me and you want me to try and help you in that way, then I take on the hat of being a financial consultant. But bulk of my money made this year comes from doing YouTube full-time. There are really a lot of ways for us to gain some personal income tax relief. This is from IRA's website. All you have to do is to just key in certain basic information about yourself, and they will be able to tell you what personal reliefs you are eligible for. The supplementary retirement scheme relief is just one of those methods. It is a tax deferred scheme in Singapore where it allows us to contribute, and that amount allows us to gain some tax relief. So for Singaporeans, it's $15,300. Foreigners is $35,700. And in order to be able to be eligible to open an SRS account, you need to fulfill these conditions. Link to the official website will be down in the description box below. So if you tick the boxes and you are eligible to open an account, you can choose between DBS Bank, OCBC, or UOB. I opened my account last year, locked in the statutory retirement age of 63 years old with DBS Bank. It depends on which year your first contribution is made, and this determines when you can start withdrawing your SRS monies, where amounts withdrawn are only taxed at 50%. Even though you are not locked in, withdrawing prior will incur a 5% penalty plus 100% taxed on the withdrawn amounts. I much prefer the SRS account as compared to CPF, as there's some form of flexibility over here. If let's say I desperately needed that amount of money, I will be able to just withdraw it out, but I will have to pay a penalty of 5% plus whatever that I've withdrawn will be subjected to taxes for that year. But subsequently, once I hit 63 years old, I'll be able to withdraw accordingly. And if you really planned it right, there will not be any taxes that you have to pay unless regulations change. If you're confused, don't worry, this is what I mean. We have a period of over 10 years starting from the date of our first penalty-free withdrawal to withdraw and empty out our SRS account. And once we do, 50% of the withdrawal sum is actually subjected to taxes. So if let's say we plan it well, we might not have to pay any taxes, provided the personal income tax brackets does not change. If let's say for the first year I withdraw $40,000, 50% of this sum is subjected to taxes, which is $20,000. But if you take a look at this personal income tax bracket table over here, the first $20,000 is not subjected to taxes. The income tax rate is 0%. So the entire $40,000 that I've withdrawn from my SRS accounts, provided I do not have any other income source coming in that I have to declare for taxes, then it's free and you will not have to pay any taxes on that amount. This is what I mean. There are also special scenarios where you can withdraw your SRS monies before the statutory retirement age, based on grounds of terminal illness or if you passed away, but there are conditions attached to it, of which I wouldn't go into the detail in today's video, but if you want to find further information, I'll put the official link down in the description box below. So more than just funding your SRS account, you should also learn how to allocate this amount of money, because if you let that cash sit in your SRS account, it will only earn you 0.05% per annum interest, and if you don't do anything, inflation will eat up your money and it will decrease in value. So what you want to learn how to do is to allocate these funds into something that suits your risk appetite. So this was my thought process as I analysed the type of investments I could do with that money sitting in my SRS account. Going in accordance to risk level, risk-free instruments like the Singapore Savings Bonds and T-bills right now yield anywhere between 2.86% to 3%. I right now already have about 15% of my net worth in low-risk investment instruments, hence this wasn't what I was looking for. Next to risk-free are banks, fixed deposits, and endowment plans that matures anywhere between 3 months to 3 years and is relatively low risk. Also not something I'm looking for. Moving next is cash management portfolios with platforms like Syfe, StashAway, and Endowers. The estimated returns is about 2.7 to 4%. If I'm looking for something that is of a higher return than the earlier two instruments I've mentioned, and I have a shorter investment time horizon like a year or two, I'd place some funds here. And this is where today's video sponsor StashAway comes in. StashAway Simple Plus is a low-risk portfolio that has underlying funds like the Lion Global SGD Enhanced Liquidity Fund, Nikko AM Shenton Short-Term Bond Fund, and Lion Global Short Duration Bond Fund, providing a 3.8% per annum yield to maturity as of 11 October 2024. There is a 0.2% management fee on Simple Plus portfolios, but from now to 31st of December 2024, all deposits done using SRS funds will receive a fee waiver until 31st December 2025, and this will boost returns to 4% per annum yield to maturity when you invest using your SRS monies. Simply apply this voucher on your StashAway app and make fresh deposits to the Simple Plus portfolio by the end of this year. More details will be down in the description box below, and thank you StashAway for sponsoring today's video. Next is investing into Singapore stocks, and this is what I had done. This is definitely riskier than the earlier options that I've mentioned thus far. I bought 300 units of DBS Bank at $42 via FSM1. I had the option of choosing between Poems and FSM. Poems charges a 0.08% no minimum commission, whereas FSM1 charges a flat $8.80, and as my transaction is above $11,000, doing it on FSM would be cheaper. With the balance of $2,600 over dollars, I would likely be placing this amount in a cash management portfolio, one like StashAway, than to let it sit idle in my SRS account to just earn 0.05% per annum interest. Next is ETFs and unitrusts via platforms like Poems, FSM1, StashAway, and Endowers, where you can invest into funds that tracks the STI, S&P 500, or the MSCI World Index, just to name a few. This was not something I had considered because I already have my own S&P 500 recurring investments done every single month, and it's something I want to have more control over. After holding for maybe about 20 years, if the time is right or if I ever needed the money, I have control to do whatever I want with it. Lastly, I can also invest via robo-advisors if I wanted to be totally hands-off with these investments. Just decide on my risk tolerance level, equities, bonds mix, etc., and that is it. So this is my first ever SRS contribution. After analysing my current investment portfolio, I figured adding more DBS stocks to hold for the long term would be a great addition. That's all I have for today's video. If you have any more questions, DM me on Instagram or leave it down in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.